It's now time for the Billy C. Show, part of the BillyCBoxing.com network.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Caligiero, and it's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening, whenever you're watching, whenever you're listening. I hope you're doing okay today. Today's show is being brought to us in part, and actually, it's being brought to us in full by my book. Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Men on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold. Get yourself a copy right now, Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com, or drop me an email, bill@BillyCBoxing.com for your copy. Hey, listen, I am doing this show right now. I'm actually a day and a half early. Normally, we broadcast live on Thursday evenings, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. That's New York time for you people that don't know what Eastern time is. But I forgot that I have an appointment tomorrow, so I didn't want to get everybody PO'd at me. So I figured I would do a quick show now. So anybody that tunes in to Billy C Boxing tomorrow at 5:30 or goes to our YouTube page, they will find this very show. And speaking of YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube show, our page, and don't forget about our podcast as well. Listen, I want to give you my thoughts on my post-fight thoughts on Ryan Garcia's fight over Oscar Duarte. In case you missed it, it took place in Houston, Texas this past Saturday night, and Ryan Garcia improved to 24 wins, one loss, 20 of his wins coming by knockout when he stopped Duarte in the what round was that? Eighth round, I'm sorry, at 2 minutes and 51 seconds. My thoughts before I give you some quotes. First of all, I like Ryan Garcia. I know that, he fell short against Tank Davis, and we talked a little bit last week about the stuff that was going on with him and his promoters. I heard some recent comments from Oscar De La Hoya saying that he doesn't know if the kid is right. And I loved listening to B-Hop. Look, Bernard Hopkins, we had him on this show when we were in Vegas. I've been meaning to catch up with him. I might even fly out to Golden Boy Promotions to sit and talk with both B-Hop and Oscar about a bunch of stuff. But one of the things I want to give kudos to B-Hop for is telling it like it is. I mean, that's one of my problems in this sport. The reason why people don't like me is because I tell it like it is. I tell it how it is as far as I feel. And it's my opinion, and I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. I'm going to tell you the way I feel, If you don't like it, don't watch, I mean, what can I tell you? And B-Hop's the same way. And we had a lot of fun in Vegas together when I did an interview with him. And I would love to get back and get with him again. But at the end of the day, Ryan Garcia looked, he's fun to watch, right? But this fight, I was more impressed with Duarte. I know that sounds crazy, but he lost the fight and he was stopped. But to tell you the truth, I think if Oscar Duarte let his hands go, I mean, this was an aggressive fighter. The guy was like a bull. Okay, yeah, he got stopped, but he was like a bull. He literally didn't have any head movement. Or any defense, so to speak. His defense was his offense, but he wasn't throwing enough punches. He was pressing the action and forcing Ryan Garcia to pull a Floyd Mayweather and dance all around the ring. But the problem with that was that I think if he cut off the ring just a little bit more and threw punches when he had Ryan trapped in the corners, it might have been a different outcome. It looked like the body shots were affecting Ryan Garcia. And then I want to talk about this roll, the shoulder roll that he started doing. Um, Look, I mean, the Mayweathers perfected the shoulder roll. A lot of people have tried it, but if you don't fully understand it and you don't use it the right way, you're going to look the way Ryan Garcia looked in that fight. I mean, he's leaning in his shoulder. He's trying to use his shoulder as a defense, but he was leaving himself wide open, and he was getting nailed. He was getting nailed. I mean, the beauty of the shoulder roll with Floyd was you couldn't really hit him, but he was still in a position to land a punch on you. I mean, he wasn't an aggressive fighter by any means, but if he was, he would have. That's been my argument with him. I mean, I don't think we ever saw the best of Floyd, but the truth of the matter is that if Ryan Garcia, because Duarte was having trouble getting past that, I think that if Ryan Garcia was able to throw punches from that angle, it would have ended a lot sooner. The thing is at the end of the fight, excuse me, Garcia, he said, and I quote, "I want to become a world champion. I want Raleigh's next." He was referring to WBA junior welterweight world champion Rolando Romero, who's 15-1 with 13 knockouts. He went on to say, "Everyone kept asking me why Oscar Duarte. He's so tough. I thought I would get him out in the second or third, but he was like a rock. I felt like me and Derek have a lot to build on after this fight. I told everyone I'm committing to become a world champion. If Raleigh's wants that, bring it on, Raleigh's. I know you talk a lot. Let's get it going. Where you at, Raleigh? You got beat up by that old dude," referring to Ismael Pissarro. "We know what happened. Don't try to fake it." Ironically enough, Duarte's battle cry all week leading up to the fight was how Ryan Garcia was a quitter and he had no heart after his loss to Tank Davis. The truth of the matter is I kind of was. I like Ryan Garcia. I think that he's got a lot of talent. I was more impressed with Duarte for some strange reason, I just the truth of the matter is I think Garcia and he's talking about his trainer Derek Gainer, and the truth of the matter with that was he wasn't listening to his trainer, and apparently he's gone through what 3 or 4 trainers since he's turned pro. I mean, in his early 20s. The kid does have to stop believing his own press clippings. If he could take the sport a little more serious and get his straighten his ass out mentally, I think this kid could be a player. I think he needs to work on his defense and everything else. Hey, I want to give a shout out to the guys in the chat room right now. I know I sprung this show on everybody pretty soon. I didn't even know I was going to do it till about 10 minutes ago. So AT and my man Team Batman Boxing, I'm glad you're here. And everybody else that's watching, and anybody that's going to be watching or listening tomorrow. Some other fights that took place this past weekend. And by the way, the Garcia fight was broadcast on DAZN. It was promoted by Golden Boy Promotions. And over also on DAZN, it was a busy weekend. We thought we were going to see the return of former 2-time world title challenger Michael Conlan. The fight was broadcast live. Matchroom Boxing was the promoter, and DAZN was the broadcast. It was in Northern Ireland, Belfast, and it didn't work out for Conlan. He lost. He was stopped by journeyman Jordan Gill. I shouldn't really call him a journeyman, but Gill improved to 28 wins, 2 losses, and a draw, with 9 wins coming by knockout. Really not known to be a heavy-handed puncher. Conlan drops to 27-3-1. It was a minute and 9 seconds of the 7th round. That was when it was officially over. This is his second straight knockout loss. Hey, AT is just making sure I know who he is. He's in Canada. Hey, I want to come back to Montreal, man. I was talking to my man Blaze Robbins, Johnny Blaze, I should say, and I told him the fire's been lit, and Canada. We did real well in Canada, so who knows? one of the things I like about Eddie Hearn is Eddie Hearn tells it like it is. He said after this fight, and I'll paraphrase basically, this is what he said. He said, it's almost going to be impossible for Conlon to return after this KO loss to Gill. Pretty heavy stuff if you think about it, you know? But it's true, So, yeah, and Batman Boxing's agreeing. Another fight that flew under my radar, and it's the last one I'm going to mention from this past weekend, is because I didn't realize it was the same guy until after the results came in. But former two-division world champion Felix Sturm, yeah, that guy, 44 years old, right? He improved to 44 wins, 6 losses, and 3 draws, with 19 wins coming by knockout when he scored a 9th-round stoppage over Sucru Alte, who drops to 15-4 in Germany. He fought in February, won a unanimous decision, and he's looking for another shot. It's fighters today definitely fight a little longer, but I think, and a lot of that you could contribute to better conditioning, better nutrition. Guys are in seemingly better shape, it seems. Or just humans are in general. I mean, remember when a fighter was 32 years old back in the day, they were washed up old fighter. A 21-year-old is the prime time. Real quick, I'll answer Andy's question. He says, what do you think of the heavyweights card on December 23rd? I love it. I can't wait to watch that card. That's one of the cards I'm looking forward to. There's a lot of fights on that card. He's talking about the pay-per-view on DAZN, Wilder and Joseph Parker, Anthony Joshua against Otto Wallen. First of all, both of those fights are good. If Joseph Parker can stay away and box Wilder, he's got a really good chance. Otto Wallen, come on, he's a good fighter. Anthony Joshua, chin is a little suspect. We know that. Dimitri Bivol, a guy that I would like to see rematch Canelo, even though he doesn't have nothing to prove. I just think Canelo will want that against Lyndon Arthur. Daniel Dubois, Triple D, is taking on Jarrell Miller. Like that fight. I like that fight. Frank Sanchez, I'm pretty high on him, taking on Junior Fa, and a couple other fights on that one. Some other young heavyweights. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And also, don't forget Inoue, fighting on the 26th. January kicks off Beterbiev against Callum Smith. And then something that I just wanted to mention, it was announced and confirmed that Mugaya, Jamie Mugaya, 42-0 with 33 knockouts, is taking on John Ryder January 27th in Phoenix. DAZN will televise that. I like this fight. Mugaya is a good fighter, but he's got a lot of he takes too many punches. He's a fighter that's got no defense. But man, does he just keep coming forward? I mean, he's exciting to watch because he's never out, and he's fighting John Ryder. I didn't know much about John Ryder until he was on the undercard of Canelo, and I can't recall if it was Canelo and Sergey Kovalev or Canelo and Danny Jacobs. I was at both of those fights in Vegas, and I can't remember which. I almost think it was against Daniel Jacobs. He was on the undercard, and I hadn't seen much with Jonathan Ryder, and he looked real good that night. He ended up getting himself a fight with Canelo, which was his last fight. He's a real deal fighter, and I think this is going to be a good fight, and after it was announced, they had their press conference the other day. Jamie Mugaya says, I'm real happy to return to the ring. I'm excited to be with my people from Phoenix. We know that Ryder is a dangerous rival, but we're prepared for it. We have not stopped training and preparing. I'm also very happy to have added Freddie Roach and his team to my camp. We're going to give a great night of boxing to everybody watching. If we overcome this great test, I hope to see you all again in May. Viva Mexico. Freddie Roach, no disrespect to Freddie Roach. Obviously he's got a great resume. I just think, again, I give you my honest opinion. I watch him in the corners. I don't see him, the communication, has got to be a communication gap between him and his fighters. I know he's the lead guy when the fight time comes. I know a lot of the training leading up to the fight. He's not really that guy, but I just, to bring him on into your camp. I mean, there's got to be. I know there's too many rah men out there. I complain about the sport all the time and the fact that we don't have many good trainers / teachers anymore. We got a lot of rah men. Yeah, go do this. Go ahead. Blah, 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 blah. Freddie Roach is definitely not one of those, but there's got to be. I hope there are better options. That's all I'm saying for a fighter. That could use some actual fine tuning, like Mugaya. If he could learn a little better defense, maybe incorporate a jab a little bit. It's a dangerous cat if he could do those couple of little things, which is kind of like everybody should do that if they're gonna box. But John Ryder, he likes to let his voice be heard inside the ring. He said, I'm glad this fight's been made. I'm looking forward to kick 2024 off with a bang, and I'll make a statement on January 27th. And that's what I like. That's what I like about boxing, when a fighter basically doesn't get all caught up in the bullshit. I can't stand all of this fluff that's been going on with the pre-fight hype. And I'm going to do this, and I get him in the ring, and I'm going to do this, and then they do nothing. They run around, and then they hug and kiss at the end of the fight. It's all a bunch of bullshit. And I really don't think, I hope that the fans of today don't fall for that crap. Okay. I think some do, I don't think that there's a fight that I've ever wanted to see because of the trash talking at press conferences. I don't think so. I don't think there's ever been a fight that because of, fighter A or fighter B said this, that, and the other thing, now I'm going to watch it. I kind of watch the fight if I think it's going to be competitive. Well, now I watch, obviously when I'm involved with this show, we're in our 21st year. I watch them all, but the truth of the matter is the ones I'm real psyched for are the ones that, you're not sure who's going to win, which is hard today. Most of them, there's an A side and a B side, and the A side typically wins, So, I mean, all you got to do is look in Vegas, look at the lines, and you could see it. Oscar De La Hoya, one of the co-promoters of this event, said on January 27th, the next Mexican superstar of the sport will officially be crowned. His name is Jamie Mugaya. Whether it's in person or at home or on DAZN, fans shouldn't miss watching Mugaya do what Canelo couldn't, knock out John Ryder. Don't you love when Oscar De La Hoya gives these subtle little, jabs at people that either screwed him or walked away from him? I'm not saying Canelo screwed him, but Canelo just didn't need him anymore. Eddie Hearn said last time out, it was Canelo. Assignments in boxing don't get much more intense than that, but John handled himself superbly, delivered one of the bravest performances I've seen, and won plenty of new fans. John's reward is another fight with a brilliant Mexican fighter. Jamie is a massive talent and a future superstar of the sport, but we believe John is the biggest test of his career, and we're confident John will hand Jamie his first defeat. I love Eddie Hearn, and the reason why is because Eddie Hearn and Oscar De La Hoya, and to be honest with you, I hope that Eddie Hearn and Oscar De La Hoya can build a strong alliance between the two, because if Golden Boy Promotions and Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing start collaborating and really, start working together, we're going to get some great fights. And I'll tell you, the reason is because they're not afraid to put their fighters in. And they both recognize that a loss shouldn't ruin a fighter's career. So I hope those two continue working together for a long, long time, and go from there. One other thing I'm going to mention, is December 16th is Showtime's Last boxing card. All I could say is I can't wait for Showtime to get the hell off the broadcasting fights. I just can't stand them, and it's not Showtime. I used to love it when Steve Farhood was on there with Al Bernstein. I mean, I know that Steve does the unofficial scorecards, and Bernstein's still there as Showtime's puppet, and I could just see his blood curdling. But Mario Ronaldo, this guy ruined it. It ruined it. He ruined the network. And Steven Espinoza, Espinoza, I should say, with the way he is. I mean, and then their alliance with the PBC, they destroyed themselves. They destroyed themselves. And if they ever come back, I hope they revamp their boxing team. But I'm glad that they're going, because I never want to see or hear Mario Ronaldo again. I think he was just made the broadcast sickening. I used to watch it with the sound off because he ruined it. The card isn't even a great one. And I love when they broadcast this, they say, the WBA's regular super middleweight champion, David Morrell, who incidentally has got less than 10 fights. He's 9-0 with 8 knockouts. He's scheduled to take on Sina Agbeko. Agbeko is 28 wins, 2 losses, 22 of his wins coming by knockout. That's supposed to be the main event. But the fight that's on that card that I may tune in just to watch is Julio Cesar Martinez. I love this kid. I love watching him. He's the original Energizer Bunny, man. He's going to be defending his WBC flyweight belt against Angelino Cordoba. Just a couple of things. My man Andy's asking me what my thoughts about for this weekend's card with Haney and Progress. I haven't picked a fighter yet. I'm leaning towards Progress, and I'll tell you why. Devin Haney's moving up in weight. Progress is probably one of the hardest punchers that Haney is going to have to face. I give Haney a lot of credit. I'm probably the minority here, but I even though he keeps winning and he keeps shutting me up, but I was never impressed with Haney. I'm sorry. Regis Progress, I'm leaning towards him. He's another guy that I think feels that he's being not getting enough credit. I think it's going to be a great fight. I really do. And I would love nothing more for Haney to prove me wrong, but I'm leaning towards Progress. My man, unofficial officials in the chat room telling me I'm going to miss Mario. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I can guarantee you that I won't miss him. He ever since the first time I ever heard him, and he's, he comes up with all the stupid sayings and stuff. And you know what? Originally, a couple of times here and there, it was kind of funny. I like that kind of shit, but it became about him. And then when they have him, when Brian Custer would have him on the, beforehand, when they have the pre-fight discussion, he would go there and, he just, I don't think he knows the sport. He's so WWF or E or whatever the hell he was involved with. And, then when the whole boo-hoo-hoo, he's battling depression, everybody gets depressed, I mean, come on, boo-hoo, sorry, Moralo. Then all his different looks, remember? The buzz cut with nothing. Then all of a sudden he's got this jet black hair. Come on, you know what? Maybe he's going bald like me, and except I've always said to myself, hey, if I'm gonna go bald, I'm gonna go bald like a man. I'm not gonna have a comb over. I'm about ready to start shaving my head because there's a little left up there, but I don't want that. I don't want that side and the ass ape look. You know what I'm talking about. I don't want that. And the other thing is I don't want to do the comb over where you got to walk sideways in the wind. Come on, man. If you're going to go bald like a man. If you're going to go gray like a man. You don't need to get the, I don't want to plug it, but the stuff that makes you not gray. But anyway, unofficial official saying he wants Progress to win. I don't know how he lands with that foot. Yeah, he's got some crazy footwork, and that's, the funny thing about it is a lot of these fighters today, they're not fundamentally sound. They may have a couple of good strengths, and then bam, they get coddled all the way up till they got 20 wins, and next thing you know, they're being handed a belt, and all of a sudden they're the champion. And then they lose, and then everybody says, "Oh, they were exposed." Yeah, it was exposed. Yeah, well, you know what? Listen, I got into this the other day, either on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and you know what? I don't blame the fighters. I don't blame the fighters because a fighter today is just like any other fighter in any other era. They got to have the balls to get in the ring and fight another guy because at the end of the day, it's only those two. You hear the teams. We're going to do this and we're going to do that. We've come to win. We've trained hard. No, not so much. He kind of did all the running. He kind of did all the training. He kind of did all of the sacrificing. And then all these same guys have the balls in the post fight when their fighter doesn't win to turn around and say, well, he didn't do this. He didn't do that. Oh, it's we before the fight. And it's we, like the French, we, after the fight when they win. But if they lose, it's he. So, I mean, this is my point. The teams and everybody gets so locked up. I want to get back into doing some promotional events, some fights. We're trying to get a stable of fighters together. And the truth of the matter is nobody wants to fight. And the worst thing is if you're a young fighter, I hate to say it, man, because I'm a parent too, but the worst thing is to have your pops be your trainer because very rarely does that work. It's worked a couple of times. We know who the successful father-son trainers were. I mean, obviously Sean Porter and Mosley, Roy Jones, these guys, but they're the exception to the rule. And you got, I can't tell you how many fighters I've seen in the amateurs. When LDL TV used to broadcast a lot of amateur events, and I did the blow by blow, and you see all these young talented fighters, and you go up to them, and you're like, oh, well, have any consideration to turn pro? Next, the dad is there, and he's like, yeah, no, I'm going to be taking care of my son's career. Right off the bat, no, you're not. You can't. It's like when I coached sports for my kids. I was involved with them, all the way up, the pee-wee levels, all the way up until high school. But then once you get into the high school level, hey, you know what? You got to turn them over. Unless that's what you do, you got to pass the baton. It's not about, trying to live through your kid, especially in boxing. It's you can't. You got to have somebody that knows what they're doing. And that's the other thing. The best thing a parent could do for their young kid that wants to be a fighter is to make sure that they choose the right people. Okay? Choose the right people. Don't try to do it on your own, but don't jump into bed with somebody that's going to, treat them like a steak, and that's the problem with this sport. And then the other problem is everybody's afraid to lose a fight. Everyone, they don't want to lose a fight because the promoters will say you're not worth anything if you have a loss. The networks or the streaming companies or whatever, well, he's got a loss, it means he won't get a time. The truth of the matter is that's not true. I wish if I had the power to do it, what I would really like to do is try to create a local, and when I say local, from town to town to town, circuit of fighters, but the problem with that is there's not enough of them. There's not enough fighters anymore. You go to a gym and maybe the gym has one fighter, then they want to protect them, so it's a shame. And it's the problem, and the truth of the matter is I don't see it getting any better, to tell you the truth. I mean, boxing gyms, they're actually hard to come by. I mean, you go to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and there's a lot of gyms, a lot of boxing gyms. New York City, I mean, there's not that many in New York City. There's really not. New York City was the hub of boxing. Las Vegas, there's some boxing gyms, of course, you would imagine. But most small towns and stuff, they don't have boxing gyms. They have gyms. They have workout centers, so you'll be going in there and you can hit a heavy bag. There may not be a ring in there, but there'll be an aerobics class for you, but anyway, listen, sorry for the late here's the show, guys. But like I said, I had something going on. I forgot all about tomorrow. So today is tomorrow's show that you're getting to watch today. So, hey, listen, next week when we come back, we'll be talking post-fight. Unofficial officials saying the kids don't want to put in the work because boxing stuff. It is true. Today's young people are looking for fast tracks for everything, careers, sports, the whole nine. But then again, like when I was a kid and I played football, to have somebody, doing a story about you was pretty rare. You go to a high school football game now, and it's like, the kids getting interviewed. I mean, they start at a very young age, and it's because of media, and it's because of, content. Everybody needs content to stream and to get out there on the internet. So different world. So we will be giving you a post-fight Regis Progress and Devin Haney. We'll give you some breakdowns on the next couple of fights, which would be, I believe the 16th will be the Showtime card. I'll break down the fights and suffer through one more broadcast with Mario Ronaldo. And then the week after that, right before Christmas, we all get treated to a great card, the heavyweight card, December 23rd. So we'll talk about that. And whatever else pops up between now and then, remember, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and also our podcast. If you need to get the link, I usually send them up on Facebook and Twitter. But if not, you can always go to BillyCBoxing.com and subscribe there. I know the news and stuff and posters and all that isn't really up to date. Sorry, I've been slacking. What can I tell you? But if you have any questions, comments, concerns, and I did have a couple of emails I was going to read. I'm looking at them right now, and I forgot about them. So if you had sent an email and I didn't read it, I will read it next time. My bad. Like I said, this was an impromptu show. So email me, bill@BillyCBoxing.com, or you could always go to the original email address, billy@talkinboxing. That's TALKINBOXING.com. Thanks for joining me. And until next week, make sure you tune in same time, not this time, but the regular time, same bat channel. And until then, ciao, baby.